How blissful is it to sink into that place of flow where body, mind, emotion are just all working together to achieve your goals, and you just feel a tremendous sense of competency and even mastery in what you're doing. And I'm sure there's an area of your life where you experience that. How many of us feel that way about public speaking and performance? Even those of us like myself who have trained as actors, how many times are we actually experiencing that tremendous sense of competence and mastery? I came to experience that after many years, and it's incredibly satisfying. And it's even more satisfying for me to see my clients start to experience that with their voice in the world. And that's what public speaking is. If we can come to see public speaking as an opportunity to share our voice in the world and how joyful that can be, then that can help us really motivate to find the techniques that are going to work for us. Today, I wanted to talk to you about the difference between focusing on what we feel and focusing on what we're doing. And I'm going to go back to acting profession to have a little look at these two different approaches. So in Stanislavski-based techniques in the US, there's been a particular emphasis on emotion. So what am I feeling? Can I make myself feel things? And then trusting that that will project to the audience. The problem with too much of a centralization of emotion and wamping up emotion is that we can get very caught up in ourselves. And that's just one step away from nerves. And it's one step away from worrying about, am I doing a good job? Am I feeling? Now, likening this to sex, if we're focusing, for example, on what we're feeling in terms of, am I aroused? Am I feeling aroused? Will I be aroused? Well, what happens? The arousal is going to take a hike out the window. The same tends to be true of focusing on any feelings that we're trying to produce and experience. They're going to be fleeting and difficult to hang on to. Whereas when we focus on what we're doing, and doing means using a whole lot of different techniques, what we're doing with our voice, what we're doing with our intention, the feelings tend to just naturally flow because there's no distinction between these parts of ourselves internally, really. They all connect to each other in our nervous system, in our psyche, in a very literal way, in fact, physiologically. So if we can engage our intention and stay focused on what we're doing, let me give you another example. I'm chopping wood. I've got an axe in my hand and I'm chopping away, and I feel really in the flow of that. Now, am I focusing more on the axe or am I focusing on the wood? And I would say quite literally, I have the axe in hand. So it's kind of an extension of my intention and myself. The axe is like tools. The axe is like technique. And it's an extension of myself. And I'm focusing mostly on the wood. So as performers and public speakers, when we can really focus on the audience, we're open to them for a start, and we're beginning that open process of the conduit between us and our audience. When we're really focusing on our desire to communicate and all the different ways that we can really express that through the tools that we have here. If we were playing an instrument, we would spend a lot of time doing it. We would practice, we would understand that there are techniques to learn. What is often missed is that you are your instrument, and when you perform as a speaker, you are playing yourself as instrument. So how can we learn techniques to show up more fully for public speaking? The joy that you experience in doing that is incredible. When people really overcome their fears and feel successful, their sense of connection to others, their sense of empowerment in their voice, and their sense of agency is exponential and reaches out into other areas of their lives. And this is why I do what I do in helping people to unlock their performance power. Please like and subscribe to my YouTube channel. If this is on another platform, like, comment. I'd love to hear your thoughts on this, what you want to see, what you want to hear, your experiences, anything you have to offer on this subject.